A Cadillac idles outside a Brooklyn filling station on a February morning in 1983. The pump reads 0, but the meter still turns. Inside the office, a man in a silk tie signs a blank invoice. The fuel is real, the tax is not. By sunset, 50,000 gallons will vanish into the system. By midnight, $200,000 will move through 3 shell companies. By dawn, the money will be clean. The man in the tie is 32 years old. His name is Michael Franzese. He does not carry a gun, he does not need to. If you love stories about power built on paperwork, about criminals who wore suits instead of masks, about empires that collapsed not from bullets but from balance sheets, make sure to follow, because this one ends with a scheme so vast it nearly bankrupted a state and a man who walked away from the mob and lived to tell it. New York City, winter 1979. The air smells like diesel and salt. Traffic chokes the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway. Gas stations line every commercial strip. Each one sells fuel. Each one collects tax. Most of them pay it. Some do not. The ones that do not are connected. Connected to a system, connected to a family, connected to Michael Franzese. Franzese is a captain in the Colombo crime family. His father is John Sonny Franzese, a legendary underboss serving 50 years for bank robbery. Michael does not want to follow that path. He does not want to end up in a cell. He wants to make money. Real money, legal money, or at least money that looks legal. He finds a way, he finds gasoline. The system is simple. New York State charges 8 cents per gallon in excise tax. Gas stations are supposed to collect it and remit it monthly, but the law allows a grace period. Distributors can delay payment for 30 days. Franzese exploits the gap. He creates shell companies. The companies buy fuel wholesale, they sell it retail, they collect the tax from customers, they never pay it to the state. After 30 days, the companies dissolve. New companies take their place. The cycle repeats, the tax money disappears. The operation is called a daisy chain. Fuel passes through 5 or 6 companies before reaching the pump. Each company adds a markup. Each company skims profit. The final company in the chain is supposed to pay the tax. The final company never does. By the time the state catches up, the company is gone. The owners are phantoms, the money is offshore. Franzese does not invent the daisy chain. Russian immigrants in Brooklyn are already running smaller versions, but Franzese scales it. He brings organization, he brings muscle, he brings the Colombo family, he brings Lawrence Iorizo, a former gas station owner with connections to fuel distributors. Iorizo knows the industry, he knows the margins, he knows how to move product without leaving traces. Together, they build an empire. They start with 1 terminal in Brooklyn. Within 2 years, they control 7. They move 20 million gallons per month. The profit margin is 8 cents per gallon. That is $1.6 million per month, $19.2 million per year, tax-free. The state sees nothing, the feds see nothing. Franzese drives a Rolls-Royce. He lives in a mansion on Long Island. He dresses in Armani suits. He dates a former Miss Universe contestant. He produces movies. He invests in racetracks. He is featured in Forbes magazine. They call him the Yuppie Don. The scheme works because of 3 things: speed, complexity, fear. The shell companies change names every few weeks. The paperwork is intentionally confusing. Auditors cannot track the chain before it dissolves, and anyone who asks too many questions gets a visit. Not from Franzese, from his associates. The visits are polite, the message is clear. Walk away. The money flows through dozens of accounts, offshore banks in Panama, dummy corporations in the Cayman Islands, real estate investments in Florida. Franzese buys a film production company called Miami Gold. He finances movies. He meets celebrities. He becomes a legitimate businessman. Or he looks like one. The movies lose money. That does not matter. The point is not profit. The point is laundering. Every dollar that goes into the film comes out clean. By 1982, the operation is moving 50 million gallons per month. The profits reach $250 million per year. That is more than the Colombo family makes from drugs, gambling, and loan sharking combined. Franzese is the family's biggest earner. He kicks up 10 million per year to the bosses. He keeps the rest. He becomes untouchable. Even within the family, people fear him. Not because of violence, because of money. Money is power. Money is leverage. Money is everything. But the system has a weakness. It requires cooperation. Gas station owners, distributors, accountants, truckers, dozens of people know pieces of the puzzle. Most are loyal, some are not. And loyalty is expensive. Franzese pays well. He pays better than anyone in the business, but eventually someone always talks. The first crack appears in 1983. A gas station owner in Queens gets audited. The state finds discrepancies. The owner panics. He says he bought the fuel from a distributor called PNPL Energy. The auditor looks up PNPL. The company does not exist. The address is a vacant lot. The phone number is disconnected. The auditor escalates. The case reaches the New York State Tax Department. The tax department calls the FBI. The FBI assigns the case to an agent named Thomas Sweeney. Sweeney is 41 years old. He has worked organized crime for 12 years. He knows the Colombo family. He knows Michael Franzese. He does not have evidence. He has suspicion. He starts digging. Sweeney subpoenas fuel distribution records. He finds a pattern. 6 companies buy fuel from the same terminal in Brooklyn. All 6 sell to the same gas stations. All 6 dissolve within 90 days. None pay taxes. Sweeney maps the connections. He creates a flowchart. The flowchart looks like a spider web. At the center is one name, Michael Franzese. Sweeney needs proof. He needs wiretaps. He needs informants. He gets neither. Franzese is careful. He does not use phones for business. He meets in person. He speaks in code. His associates are loyal. They do not flip. Sweeney tries a different approach. He follows the money. The money trail leads to Florida. Franzese owns property in Boca Raton, a mansion on the water, 4,000 square feet, tennis court, swimming pool, boat dock. Sweeney requests financial records. The property is owned by a trust. The trust is controlled by a Panamanian corporation. The corporation has no listed officers. The trail goes cold. Sweeney does not give up. He expands the investigation. He pulls records on every company connected to PNPL Energy. He finds dozens. Each one has a different name. Each one uses the same accountant. The accountant is Lawrence Iorrizzo. Sweeney brings Iorrizzo in for questioning. Iorrizzo refuses to talk. He invokes the Fifth Amendment 47 times. Sweeney gets nothing. But the pressure is building. Other agencies are noticing. The New York State Attorney General opens an investigation. The IRS starts auditing Franzese's companies. The Nassau County District Attorney convenes a grand jury. Franzese feels the walls closing. He does not panic. He adapts. He shuts down the most exposed companies. He moves operations to New Jersey and Pennsylvania. He diversifies. He invests in legitimate businesses, auto dealerships, construction firms, real estate. He prepares for the worst. The worst arrives in 1985. Lawrence Iorrizzo gets arrested. Tax evasion, racketeering, fraud. The charges carry 20 years. Iorrizzo is 53 years old. He does not want to die in prison. He makes a deal. He agrees to cooperate. He agrees to testify. He agrees to wear a wire. Iorrizzo meets with Franzese at a diner in Long Island. The meeting is recorded. Franzese does not say anything incriminating. He speaks in generalities. He talks about business. He talks about investments. He does not mention fuel. He does not mention taxes. He is too smart. But Iorrizzo gives the feds something better. He gives them documents, ledgers, bank statements, invoices, contracts, years of records, the entire operation laid out on paper. The indictment comes in November 1985. United States of America versus Michael Franzese and 32 co-defendants, racketeering, conspiracy, tax evasion, wire fraud. The charges carry a maximum of 150 years. Bail is set at $5 million. Franzese posts it in 6 hours. He walks out of the courthouse. He does not speak to reporters. He climbs into a waiting car. The car is not a Rolls-Royce. It is a rented sedan. The mansion is gone. The movie company is gone. The offshore accounts are frozen. Everything is under investigation. The trial begins in June 1986. The prosecution presents 240 exhibits: bank records, ledgers, wiretaps, testimony from Rizzo, testimony from gas station owners, testimony from truckers, testimony from accountants. The defense argues that Franzese was a legitimate businessman, that he did not know the taxes were not being paid, that he trusted his partners. The jury does not believe it. The trial lasts 9 weeks. The jury deliberates for 6 days. They return with a verdict, guilty on all counts. Franzese shows no emotion. His lawyer requests bail pending appeal. The judge denies it. Franzese is remanded immediately. He is taken to the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan. He will remain there until sentencing. Sentencing comes in September 1986. The judge is Eugene Nickerson. Nickerson is 70 years old. He has presided over organized crime cases for 23 years. He does not believe in leniency. He asks Franzese if he has anything to say. Franzese stands. He says, "I accept responsibility." Nickerson says you should have accepted it sooner. He sentences Franzese to 10 years in federal prison. He orders restitution of $14.7 million. He orders forfeiture of all assets connected to the scheme. Franzese is transferred to Terminal Island Federal Correctional Institution in California. He is prisoner number 03381-112. He works in the prison library. He does not cause trouble. He keeps to himself. He starts thinking about his life. He starts questioning his choices. He starts reading the Bible. While Franzese is in prison, the investigation continues. Federal prosecutors expand the probe. They indict 50 more defendants: gas station owners, distributors, accountants, lawyers, shell company officers. Most plead guilty, some cooperate. The scheme unravels completely. The state estimates the total loss at over $1 billion. It is the largest tax fraud case in American history. New York responds with new laws. The state eliminates the grace period for tax payments. Distributors must now pay taxes immediately upon sale. The state creates a dedicated task force to monitor fuel distribution. The task force audits every terminal quarterly. The loopholes are closed. The daisy chain model becomes impossible. Other states follow: New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Florida. All pass similar laws. The fuel tax fraud era ends, not because of arrests, not because of prosecutions, because of regulation, because the system was fixed, because the gap was closed. Franzese serves 8 years. He is released in 1994. He is 43 years old. He does not return to the Colombo family. He does not return to crime. He becomes a motivational speaker. He speaks at churches. He speaks at schools. He speaks at corporate events. He tells his story. He warns about the cost of greed. He writes a book called Blood Covenant. He appears on television. He does interviews. He becomes famous again, this time for walking away. The Colombo family does not forgive him. Walking away is not allowed. Speaking publicly is not allowed. Cooperating with the media is a death sentence. Franzese does not cooperate with law enforcement. He does not testify against anyone. But he talks. He tells his story. That is enough. The family puts a contract on him. $500,000, dead or alive. Franzese goes into hiding. He moves constantly. He changes addresses every few months. He hires security. He avoids public appearances in New York. He lives in California. He lives in Florida. He lives in undisclosed locations. The contract remains active for years. Eventually, the family moves on. New leadership, new priorities. Franzese is old news. The contract fades, but it never officially ends. Lawrence Rizzo serves 3 years. He enters witness protection. he disappears. No one knows where he went. No one hears from him again. The gas station owners who cooperated receive reduced sentences. Most serve less than 2 years. The truckers and accountants get probation. The lawyers are disbarred. The shell company officers vanish. Some leave the country. Some change identities. Some simply disappear into normal life. The money is never fully recovered. The feds seize properties, bank accounts, vehicles, jewelry, art. The total recovery is $93 million. That leaves over $900 million unaccounted for. Some is hidden offshore. Some is laundered into legitimate businesses. Some is simply gone, spent, consumed, vanished into the machinery of the scheme. The Colombo family loses its biggest earner. The loss destabilizes the organization. Internal power struggles follow. Assassinations, betrayals. By the mid-1990s, the family is fractured. The bosses are in prison. The soldiers are cooperating. The family never recovers. It becomes a shadow of its former self. The fuel scheme was the beginning of the end. Michael Franzese is still alive. He is 73 years old. He lives in California. He runs a website. He produces YouTube videos. He has over 1 million subscribers. He talks about his past. He talks about the mob. He talks about redemption. He does not romanticize the life. He does not glorify violence. He warns people away. He says the life is not worth it. He says the money is not worth it. He says freedom is everything. His story is not about redemption. It is about adaptation. Franzese did not leave the mob because he found religion. He left because he got caught. He left because the system collapsed. He left because staying meant dying in prison. But he made it work. He turned his past into a product. He turned his crimes into content. He turned his infamy into income. He survived. That is the real ending. The gas stations are still there. The pumps still turn. The taxes are still collected. But the system is different now. Regulated, monitored, transparent. The loopholes are closed. The daisy chain is dead. The mob does not control fuel anymore. They moved on to other things. Cybercrime, identity theft, cryptocurrency. The game changes. The players adapt. The principle remains. Find the gap. Exploit the gap. Disappear before it closes. Franzese understood this. He found the gap in fuel tax law. He exploited it for 5 years. He made $250 million. He walked away alive. Most mobsters do not. Most die in prison. Most die in the street. Most die forgotten. Franzese became a celebrity, not because of what he did, because of what he survived. The scheme was not genius. It was opportunistic. It was simple. It was scalable. It required no violence, no drugs, no weapons, just paperwork, just patience, just people willing to ignore the law for a cut of the profit. And there are always people willing to do that. Always. Everywhere. In every industry, in every era. The names change. The methods change. The principle does not. New York lost over $1 billion in fuel tax revenue between 1979 and 1985. That money did not disappear. It went somewhere. It bought mansions. It bought cars. It bought movies. It bought influence. It bought silence. It funded an empire built on a loophole, an empire that collapsed the moment the loophole closed. That is the lesson. Not that crime does not pay, it does, for a while, until the system adapts, until the law changes, until someone talks, until someone gets caught. The empire always falls. The only question is whether you fall with it or walk away before it does. Franzese walked away. Barely. Most do not get that chance. The gas pump still turns. The meter still climbs. The tax is collected. The tax is paid. The system works now, but it only works because someone broke it first, because someone exposed the flaw, because someone exploited the gap until the gap became a crisis and the crisis forced a solution. That is how systems improve, not through foresight, through failure, through collapse, through men like Michael Franzese. He was not a mobster. He was an accountant with connections. He did not terrorize neighborhoods. He defrauded a tax system. He did not deserve 10 years. He deserved 20. But he served 8. He paid his debt. He walked away. He rebuilt. He survived. That is the American story. Not redemption, reinvention, not justice, adaptation, not morality, survival. The Cadillac still idles outside the Brooklyn filling station. The pump still reads 0, but the meter stopped turning decades ago. The man in the silk tie is gone. The office is empty. The invoices are filed away in a federal archive. The money is spent. The empire is dust. All that remains is the story. And the story is enough. The story is always enough, because the story never dies. It just waits for the next man, the next gap, the next empire built on a loophole that no one noticed until it was too late. Michael Franzese noticed. He exploited, he profited, he survived. That is not a moral, that is a fact, and facts are all that matter in the end.